Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Sound Test Podcast. This is the host, Bryan, here, and I am joined with Maximilian.
Hey, I'm eating Oreos right now.
He need to get his honey nuts in.
Stop. Nah, let's not bring that back. Let's not bring that back. Let's leave that in yesterday, okay?
I'm hungry.
Um, we have DeYante.
Huh?
What do you every week, every time? And we are joined by a good friend of us. Will be new to the Sound Test podcast listeners. We have our friend Clayton.
Ixza.
Oh my God! Why did you say it so close to the
Close to
mic?
the mic. Oh my gosh.
Now the
No.
listeners are gonna be like, "Oh no, no, mm-mm."
They're like, oh my God, there's another weeb. Oh, Jesus Christ. What's going on?
So, I think I put in like the description of like sound test, but I never like I don't think we've ever like specified. Uh, we are all musicians, and
Yes.
the whole idea was like us all musicians and people of color and nerds. So like that was like a big crossover of three different things. Um, so Clayton, what was your principal instrument?
Well, principal instrument when I was in college was clarinet, and then I picked up oboe and a few others along the way.
Yeah, because you just hate yourself, so you wanted to play oboe.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, because that bit,
You just
oh,
couldn't leave well enough alone, could you? You just had to pick that other shit up.
I'm I'm a type A kind of person, so I want to be the best at everything and anything.
Oh,
Yep.
you can actually get knocked out by the Pokemon in this? Jesus. It says everything went black. Jeez. Someone get me to the hospital ASAP.
So yeah, Bryan, me, I do euphonium. Um, Max is also
Same thing. Euphonium, baritone,
also
Bethune
euphonium
Cookman
player,
University.
and DeYante, you also
Accordion.
no, no.
We ever discussed this earlier. You asked me why I hate the sound of the clarinet, and I told you why.
Oh my God.
So I play accordion now, and you cannot change this.
The listeners are going to be in for a real treat this episode.
Oh God. So so today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Arceus. Thanks.
Okay, like I feel like
God.
Whoa.
I feel like they change it every time. Is it Arceus or Arceus?
I've
Oh,
been saying Arceus from the start. When I use my Google speech to text, I say Arceus. It spells it right, so I'm using that.
Well,
What does the
in the
video
trailer,
say?
it says Arceus in the beginning.
Arceus. That's what I
Ugh,
thought.
yuck.
Because I thought for years it was Arceus, but then they were in. It's like no, it's Arceus.
I thought Arceus would be if you put a K there instead of a C.
That's English for you.
Well,
We just
art
well,
can
don't.
be
it's
speak
not
of a
me.
C or a K.
But
English, thanks.
So yeah, we're going to talk about this. Mostly because one is coming out like extremely soon. It comes out January 28th. And it's a completely different take on Pokemon. And because they recently revealed some new information and new gameplay elements about it. Because this game was announced last year, I think around January. And they've been pretty like hush hush about aspects of the game. It was only like till this like last few weeks leading up to the game that they actually started to push more information out. So we're going to talk about Pokemon Arceus, basically our expectations, what we've seen from the gameplay, our thoughts regarding that. But before we did that, I wanted to see what are our thoughts on the game leading up to Arceus, which was Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Okay.
I was waiting for it, Max. I was waiting for it, Max.
Oh my gosh. But I personally, I have a lot of thoughts. So, first thought, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. We already know that these are remakes. And back in the early 2010s, we had Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and then its predecessor, Pokemon with the Giratina
Platinum.
Platinum with
Platinum.
Giratina. And we have the lead legendaries with Dialga and Palkia and stuff like that. So it's great to see the Sinnoh League again with Piplup and the other starters in just a new, refreshing, modernized setting since it
Wait a
came out
second.
originally in the
Hold up.
US.
Hold up.
Okay.
You mean to tell me I'm not the Pokemon person in the group, so yeah, like I didn't know. But you mean to tell me that they purposely made Shining Diamond and Brilliant Pearl
You have that
alongside
backwards.
Arceus, so that way it could be both be in the Sinnoh region?
I was actually about to touch on that.
Well, go ahead,
Because
Clayton, and I'll say what I had to say.
yeah, but thoughts. I've been enjoying it. I didn't even get my first gym badge yet, but I've been playing other things like Overwatch and getting good at Apex. But as far as I can tell, the only gripe that I have is with the XP share. And if you've played the game before, the XP share was an item that one of your party Pokemon held, so they can get that. And as somebody who played competitively. In Pokemon with duos and singles, it really affected my IV and EV training. So, and with IV, that's individual value, and EV being
Effort
value that you get
values.
from, yeah, effort values. So, with those two things as a factor, your first team in this game is not going to be the team that you want to take into battle if you want to play competitively in like smaller leagues or in communities and stuff like that. You're just going to have to do that after you're done with everything, just so you could get through the Elite Four and Cynthia. But other than that, I have no gripes with it.
Okay.
Wait, so do people play this game competitive? Well, this one specifically.
Well, there's a
Possibly in
whole
the
meta.
future.
There's a whole meta on just competitive Pokemon in general. Um, but to piggyback what you said earlier, Deontay, about them like putting the games so close together, um, I absolutely think this was a whole COVID thing because I do not think Brilliant Diamond was supposed to be out like in November of last year. Like it because the way Pokemon Company usually operates, mainline Pokemon games are usually like a year apart, and they always fall in on that November time slot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm just assuming COVID messed some things up and messed some things around because there would be never be a point where they would put two mainline Pokemon games immediately right by each other. Because if you really think about it, that's like what 3 months between Arceus and Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Yeah, I was about to say like that they never do anything like that ever.
Like they will
And
do
if
that
it is
for
like two Pokemon
spin-offs.
games, yeah, I guess they'll do it like it probably would have been like Shining Diamond and Pearl Pinball or some shit like that if it was really up to them. So that put two games that are like mainline games because these are both mainline games.
That reminds me, they haven't made a Pokemon like pinball game in a while. But anyway, yeah, I kind of feel like this game, Brilliant Diamond, was supposed to come out like way earlier than it actually came out. Because it just doesn't seem right that they would put two massive games at
Two big games. Yeah.
that close together, and like just looking back at Pokemon Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield was released in 2019. Um, they did something different. Instead of doing a third version or a direct sequel, they just did expansion passes, which is cool. I get that, but the Crown Tundra that released in October of 2020, which I even feel that's kind of like if you were to do a remake, it would have probably been something like if they already knew that Arceus was coming up, Arceus would have probably been Nintendo's big November game, and they probably would have put Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl like early 2021.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you got to think, developers doing things from home takes significantly anything to get done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
I'm I'm chalking it up to COVID related delays and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, but I've beaten Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and so far my sentiments are exactly what Clayton said, where the experience all is just on by default, meaning no matter what happens, if you catch a Pokemon, if you battle a Pokemon, everybody in your team gets experience, regardless. And it does make you go through the game legitimately like way faster because you're not, constantly swapping Pokemon in and out. You're not training specific Pokemon. But as you said, competitive, that's junks out the window because the way you build up your IVs and EVs is dependent on who the Pokemon are facing and who they're knocking out. That affects all those stats. But it just made the game way too easy. Like it made the
And
game dumb easy.
they've been
Pokemon.
doing that for all of the modern Pokemon games. They've been doing that. I forgot which generation started it. I wish
It
they would stop it.
it's Sun
X
and
and Y.
Moon. I don't think XY. I think it was an option X and Y, but it was like it was still an item. I think in Sun and Moon it was
Yeah.
on by default, and you could turn it off. But then in Sword and Shield, it's like, no, you just can't turn it
Right.
off.
I like the option. I like the having that as an option for the more casual players, and then being turn that off for competitive players. That's awesome. That's an awesome thing to do. That's something that they should do instead of forcing you to go baby mode like they've been doing.
Yeah, and also like even if they don't present that as an option, turning on and off the XP share, at least unlock it after you defeat the Pokemon League. Because if they are talking about accessibility for new Pokemon players and people just getting into the franchise at this point in time, yeah, it'll be easier on younger kids, whoever's going into it. You'll get through the Pokemon League. You'll have to do some extra work at some points. Obviously, it's still a game. But after that, then we could just toggle those settings with Eevee, so we could Eevee and Ivy train to our hearts, our content. Because nobody, if you've ever like met somebody who plays competitively, in the Pokemon games like that, their team that they started off with in the game, that's not the team that they're going to take with them at any point in time.
Yeah, and Deontay, to let you know like how serious people get with competitive Pokemon. Every Pokemon has base stats. However, a Pokemon's nature affects, you know, how certain stats grow. So, like, if a Pokemon is a certain nature, then let's just say the attack stat will grow much further than any of the other stats. But the defense stat may go slower than all the others. So it's stuff like that. So like people would
It's kind of,
say it
I was
again.
about to say it's kind of like Fire Emblem, where
Right.
depending on the class that you pick, certain stats with certain classes level up faster than the others with certain characters.
Yeah, bro. And that came into breeding. People would legit breed Pokemon
Mhm.
to have the right nature to get them to be the strongest.
Right. And they will like constantly breed them over and over until they get good stats or like close to perfect stats.
Wait, so each Pokemon can have it can be like two Pikachus, but they can have two different natures?
Oh yeah. There's
Yeah,
like there's like what 18 different natures.
it's something of the sorts. And even with nature is concerned and the competitive scene in that manner, breeding, yes, that is option one. But I've seen other people that they would just get those little cartridges that you just put in, get those cheat codes, and you could create Pokemon with this
Chart.
exact natures. So
Yeah.
they could up their IVs up to 31 because it goes from scale from 0 to 31.
That
And they
game
just
chart, baby.
that's that cheat sheet right there. But I've never used it. I've just seen it used. But there's
And the
that.
game genie, so that way I can make my Charizard skittish.
But so as somebody who's beaten like the Pokemon League because of experience all, pretty much the whole game was just a cakewalk. I stuck with it because I really love Gen 4. Gen 4 was like my favorite generation. It's a toss up between Gen 4 and Gen 2, which was like my favorite Pokemon experience. But I really loved Gen 4. I love Sinnoh. I love the world and all that. Um, so I was still like very much engaged in the gameplay. Um, but it's so bad because once you get to the Pokemon League, the difficulty ramps up a lot, as it should, but it almost becomes kind of broken because Cynthia, just her typing of her team and the way they actually set up her boundaries, where she has counters to things that you would normally go against her Pokemon or types with. She has a lot of counters against that, and that Garchomp, boy, good God, that Garchomp is,
Oh my god, her Garchomp is a run killer.
yeah, and it's just like it's such a slap in the face because everything up until that point is so easy, and it just bam, big level spike, and she's just like one shotting your Pokemon.
And you're just like, why?
Now there's
Oh,
oh sorry, go ahead, Clayton.
oh no, and also talk about healing her Pokemon
Yeah,
mid battle.
the full restores. I know that should be illegal, but I don't make the rules. Nintendo does.
Do you, boo boo?
Bro, that hurt me so much because like when I was going through there, I had a strategy because I had a Drapion, and I was like, all right, I know Drapion's about to get like two shotted. Let me just set up this toxic, so even if he gets two shotted, I could put like my Torterra out because he could tank some hits, and slowly whittle away their health. This mother, she used full restore, and just eliminated the poison and went back to full health, and I was just like, great, this man Drapion died for nothing.
Rest in peace. Let's pour a bottle out for our homie, Drapion.
Drapion.
But I do like the enhancements they brought to Diamond and Pearl. So like the Grand Underground has been expanded where you can catch rare Pokemon that you've never like that was never part of the normal experience in Sinnoh. Like
Really?
yes. So after I beat the game, it opens up the national decks and you could get, it opens up the Pokemon from Gen 1, 2, and 3.
Hmm.
Bruh, I went down there and just casually Chikorita was just walking around.
Really?
Where you found it?
And it was just in the underground in the little grassy area. It was like a level 60 Chikorita, and I caught it, and I did the same thing with a Charmander, and it was just like random Pokemon that you would not normally see or shouldn't be accessible in Sinnoh. It's just there in the underground.
So that means canonically, Sinnoh is literally keeping other Pokemon from the rest of the world and hiding them underground.
Wait, you guys don't know that lore? So, because there's actually like a little lore. I remember going back and playing the game multiple times, and there was something called the Cave of Being, which actually connects the Unova and Sinnoh regions. And since those two regions are connected and all that stuff, I was like, oh, what else is there to explore? But also, we got to remember that the Pokemon map, the first four gens, they're within the same continent. So they're in the same landmass. They're just different regions of that landmass.
Well,
Hmm.
not no,
Other than,
they're in
well,
the same general area because
yeah.
Sinnoh and Hoenn is basically islands, but they're relatively close. They're close enough that Pokemon people can travel because like you'll see in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, there'll be like people from Gen 2 will just be there.
You're from the Johto region. Yeah,
Well, I had
that's
no clue.
that's pretty dope. Have you played the little multiplayer part where you have to go meeting, Brian?
Not really. I don't think. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have plenty of friends that have Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. The multiplayer aspect of the mining stuff never was like big on me. I like mining
Okay.
to find evolutionary stones and stuff like that, but I
I
never got.
got you. I played well, let me tell you, I played the ever loving crap out of that mode in particular, and I just wanted to see if they expanded it at all.
I think there's some extra stuff to it. I'm not sure.
He just doesn't care enough to actually explore it.
No, I get it.
I mean, because I was just like going to the underground finding Pokemon, just rare Pokemon I've never you know, and Pokemon that would have been like if you think back in Gen 4 would have been so hard to find. Because like for instance, if you wanted a Chikorita at that time, you would have to literally like it was so stupid. It was like because there was Gen 2 remakes didn't happen yet at that point when Diamond and Pearl was out. So in order to get those Gen 2 starters, you would have had to have, I think it was beaten uh Ruby. It was something, it was some ridiculous requirement for Pokemon Emerald, and you get the choice of one of the three Johto starters. They were just not easily accessible. It was something ridiculous like that, and then you had to move them from the GBA game to Pokemon Diamond or Pearl on a DS.
Mm.
A bunch of roundabout crap. But anyway, um, moving on. And again, before we get to the big topic, um, just want to see what was your feelings on the franchise, Pokemon franchise in general, up until this point, until we get
Uh,
to Arceus.
Ooh,
Um,
go
being
for it.
me, I used to be a Pokemon junkie way back when. I stopped actually Gen 4. So when they brought Gen 4 back, they're like, "Yep, I got to get a piece of this." Um, I there's a lot of things that I don't like what they did. Don't like what they did about the Pokemon series. One of the biggest things being the whole XP share thing, just babyifying it. But they I see they are trying to go outside of the typical Pokemon formula, like with certain games. I know I used to play a lot of Pokemon. I know Pokemon Go is a mobile game, but I used to play a lot of Pokemon Go. Stuff like that is really fun. Games that are a bit more interactive with the Pokemon. I know the they start to add different systems like the Gigantamax system, the
The Mega
mo- the
Evolutions.
Mega Evolutions. A lot of that stuff is really cool.
Goose and Sun and Moon.
hmm A lot of that stuff's really cool. Um, but I don't know. Me personally, I haven't just gotten that drive to get back into Pokemon for real.
Mm.
hmm
I can totally relate. Because again, just like you, Max, I was a Pokemon junkie. I'm talking like I played Gold, I played Crystal, Leaf Green, Fire Red, like any like early Pokemon game where you just have to train the Pokemon. I've played it. I've owned Diamond, Platinum, Moon, X. Like I'm all for that. Even Battle Revolution on the Wii. Like I even played that, and even Pokemon Coliseum on the GameCube.
Yo,
Like I
po-
know. Like,
Pokemon Revolution on the Wii was dope. Even though there was no
yo,
story to it, but that joint was dope.
exactly. Because we could just transfer our team over to the game, and then we could just play off of the Wii, and like that is
Yeah.
freaking cool. Like that was like groundbreaking
You
around
said,
the time that it came out.
right. You said a certain one too, like Pokemon Coliseum. Me and play the hell out of that. You could connect Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald to it and do it and see when I got to see my 2D sprite Pokemon go into 3D, I went crazy.
I was like, ah, go crazy, ah, go stupid.
Ah, go stupid.
But as a feeling for the entire franchise, I think Pokemon is finally starting to get back on track with this new game based off the preview. Because I know I stopped playing Pokemon because I was so unenthused with where the franchise was going. Pokemon became unoriginal. They kept recycling all that stuff, and I know that creativity is like very hard. Like you just pop up with a new Pokemon design and stuff like that, color palettes and everything behind that. But it just felt like it stagnated. Like it lost its magic per se. I'm not sure if that's just an effect of what I call old itis or growing up. But am thoroughly impressed with how I've enjoyed Diamond, Brilliant Diamond so far. I just haven't
Okay.
picked it up because I really wanted to get good at other video games. But I was really happy that I have that nostalgia. But that's also the caveat to it. Nostalgia purposes. Is that why they're re-releasing Diamond and Pearl? So it just makes me question,
You
are we
also
going to
gotta
get more
think
re-releases?
you also gotta think about how taxing it is to design a new Pokemon game means we have to design hundreds of new Pokemon.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, they usually the the structure that they usually have it. A new generation of Pokemon usually comes out like every 3 or 4 years, and that's because they usually have the start of a new gen. Then they have like the third version of that new gen, and then they will have a remake after that, and then they will have that other new gen. So like it's usually a buffer in between, you know.
For me, it's a little different because my only Pokemon games were really Gold, Ruby. I've tickled Black too.
Why do you say tickled?
I tickled Black too.
That sounds awful.
That's
And like I didn't really enjoy that one at all. And I played quite a bit of Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon was the last one that I played, and I was enjoying it. And then Monster Hunter came in my life and was like, "Nah, you got to stop here. Play me instead."
Mhm.
And so I used to really enjoy the older Pokemons, but then like I could tell something was off when I played Sun and Moon because the XP share thing existed as well, but like I said, you could turn it off, and it just made the game feel very blah. Like there wasn't really any challenge to it. It was just pop a Z move, I win, you know, and that's what it was. And then I discovered the joy and wonder of SMT, which is basically adult Pokemon with demon. And that scratched my Pokemon itch. And the only reason why I've kind of like sashayed from Pokemon as far as the, creature capturing deal with a game is because of the fusion and the fusing element of the Shin Megami Tensei and Persona fusing the demons together to make other demons thing. You still make the demons, but you still have to like capture them as well by having conversations. And there's no telling how you would get a demon. Just like with a Pokemon, when you throw the Pokeball, you don't know whether or not if the Pokemon's gonna stay in the ball after the three wiggles. So that was always an interesting aspect. So the games felt synonymous to me, but SMT clicked with me more, and so I think with them trying to resurge and trying to recapture solely on nostalgia isn't a bad tactic, but they could be doing a little bit better as far as like some fan feedback or something where they actually listen to what in the heck is going on with what fans want out of these games. And I think Arceus is an interesting take on that, which we will get to.
Yes.
So, and this is the whole reason I asked this question. For me, and just to show you how like far I've like, you know, verged from the franchise, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl was the first time I've beaten a Pokemon game since X and Y,
Sheesh.
what?
and that's
I
and
get it.
and the thing is, it's not like I didn't buy Sun and Moon, I didn't buy Sword and Shield. I have those games. I've purchased those games. It's just those games just never.
They did click.
Yeah, they didn't click. They didn't. It was just some. It was just certain things about those games that just didn't keep me in and keep me invested. And Sword and Shield was like the worst of those offenders because it was like Sword and Shield. I probably put like 10 hours in that game, if that. And it got to the point I was just so just bored of the game and bored of the franchise. And with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I jumped in knowing, hey, this is Gen 4. I love Gen 4. I know about the quirks of Gen 4. I know about, this area region very, very well. That was the main thing pushed me through this. And I enjoyed it because it was very familiar. But it was just so much missteps leading up into this point that just didn't allow me to really like enjoy the franchise for a very long time. And like
Hmm.
X and Y was like what, 2012, 2013.
Yeah. Quite a while ago.
Yeah, that's almost 10 years ago. um and so I say all that because Arceus is very different, very different from anything we've seen up until this point.
Yeah. I could definitely agree. Me seeing this me watching this trailer for the gameplay preview for it, they want to make it feel more like an actual world. They including different features like you yourself as the trainer are a factor in the battle now. Like
So
that's different.
let's get into this part proper. So Pokemon Legends Arceus, if for whatever reason you've just been completely out of the loop or just completely blind, it's essentially an open world Pokemon game, which is kind of a misnomer. What's the term? Miss something. Um,
Mm,
I,
Miss
I
Ma'am.
I
Miss.
wish I knew which word you. I wish I knew what word you were trying to use.
I wish I did too. God. Vocabulary. Stay in school, kids. Um,
But you graduated from school, so what's the?
anyway,
Stop.
and that's the sad part. We all got degrees. We all have degrees.
We's
What's
educated,
that
but
word?
They're not English degrees, but they're degrees nonetheless.
oh man.
But basically, Pokemon always were kind of open world in the idea that you had missions and stuff like that. You had things you had to do, but you could just kind of just explore the world. That was always an element of the Pokemon games. But when I say more open world in this sense, that effect that you're fully untethered. And it's like one of the dumb things that Pokemon fans just had to deal with like for years was the fact that we had no camera control. And we was always on a fixed camera and like we can only see parts of the environment. But in this game it is really kind of giving you the, and I hate to say it because everybody's going to compare it to it, but the Breath of the Wild treatment, where you see that mountain, you can go to that mountain, or you see this
Yeah,
valley, you can get to that valley. There's no
You can
barrier
go
stopping
there.
there, stopping
like
you getting there.
the immediate moment in the trailer where they showed your trainer going on that damn bird on a hang glider, I was
Yeah.
like, God damn it, y'all had to do that.
Oh, bro, and the little piano, the little soft piano cues.
Yeah, I was like, come
It
on.
was it was it was just it was very Breath of the Wild like, um, but yeah, it's such a different take on it. Also because it's set in the Sinnoh region, but it's the Hisui region, which is basically the predecessor to Sinnoh.
It's
But
soup.
it's like what, feudal Japan era, so they don't have the modern technologies as we had in Sinnoh. You know, this is like
Pokeballs, sticks and twigs.
right, like this is the first development of the concept of the Pokédex and the Pokeballs and researching Pokemon. Um, so let's I just want to open to the floor. What are your, you know, seeing the new gameplay? Actually, let me do this. Let's talk about the gameplay preview that was just recently released. Um, I have some notes on it, so let me just go through some of the things that we've seen through the trailer. So yeah, the new region is called Hisui region, which is the predecessor to Sinnoh. Um, Basically the same formation map, but done hundreds of years in the past. Um, there's a crafting system which is like really brand new. Again, another Breath of the Wild esque element or open world element in which um, you're tasked with finding materials in the environment to use to make your Pokeballs or make different things for either capturing Pokemon or things that you need for quests or items and things like that, potions and things like that. Um, Pokemon are just out in the overworld now, so it's not
Mhm.
like the old Pokemon games where you travel through tall grass and then suddenly your Pokemon pops out. Like they're just out
Right.
in the open.
It's more so like Sword and Shield, just a little bit better.
Mm.
Yeah, much better implementation because they're just out in the open and you can like literally see them, interacting with the environment. You see them interacting with other Pokemon, casually walking around.
Or cutting shit from trees and stuff like that.
Yeah, or if it starts to rain, they'll like react to what's going on and stuff like that. It makes it feel much more like an actual world. um, uh,
My question, like, if if that's a part of the game, I wonder how, like, I hope it's not like a tacked on thing, like where you'll only use it minusculely just to get like minor items, like stuff to make lures to capture the Pokemon, or use the berries to make better berries that your Pokemon go hold. Or is it something that you can actually use where you can find like moonstones to like help Pokemon evolve, or you know, stuff like that, or being able to make rare candies or something like that.
That would be interesting with the rare candy,
Yeah.
and
But you need
crafting
like
the other
really,
item.
really like rare materials in the game that have like a 0.2% of spawning or something like that.
Also true. But as far as my opinion on the crafting the items, that's pretty awesome since we always usually have the Pokemart and Pokemon Center in every town that we visited in prior games. Now that we have the items, we could just collect them, find them in the wild, and it gives us time to explore, as Brian was saying, and even gives us time to um s- just get a feel of the new Pokemon world that the Pokemon franchise is going in, because I'm pretty sure after this game they're not just gonna go back to the regular standard, um like, no control of the camera, no
Right.
doing all of this
Unless it's
stuff.
like unless it's like another remake because Nintendo loves those. Um I don't maybe it won't be a complete deviation from the standard Pokemon formula because I'm pretty sure there's a good portion of the fandom that hadn't sees no problem with that formula really. But this more immersive Pokemon style where you get to explore the world, fight with your Pokemon. This is the stuff that we talked about when we were kids. Like we were like, oh, if only we could have like an open world Pokemon where we can adventure. Now we
And
have
then
it.
we got it though.
This is quite literally it. And I like how they are learning from some of the Shield wasn't the best example, let's be honest. Sword and Shield was definitely not the best examples, but I see that they're implementing a few more things in Pokemon Arceus. Being able to being able to ride your Pokemon, being able to climb the mountains, being able to go anywhere in the world, being able to go like a lot of you can see a lot of stuff they got from Breath of the Wild. The gliding system they had, well, flying system in this, and then they put their own spin on it. Like you can surf, fly, you can fucking ride on Pokemon. Like that's cool. That stuff like, oh, I would love to do shit like that.
And that's that was one of the things that people always they always wanted Pokemon to feel closer to the anime. Anime made it feel like a big world, an expansive world, and heck, even in the what like the first episode of the anime, Ash got like attacked by a bunch of sparrow or Pidgeys or something like that. Like
Almost died.
right, like he got physically attacked. Like it made it known that hey, these are still animals at the core.
Animals, and if Pokemon was real, it'd be very easy to die in the because these are just animals but stronger.
These are animals plus.
It's like
Right.
squirrel, throw acorn or something if they were like
Nah, except
real.
for now the squirrel's gonna shoot a fucking fireball at you.
I don't want to go to work. Be like, boss, I can't come to work. This freaking Ratata just ate my tires, and I don't know like what to do.
just
Just
nibbled away at my tires. This goddamn this wild infernate burned down my home last night. So now I'm at a
oh
shelter.
my god, I go from tires, you go to arson.
I can't come into work today. A wild Blastoise used hydro pump literally through my house. I can't come to work, dude.
I,
Sorry, man. Gengar got into our house last night and possessed my wife, and we got to see an exorcist now. You know how it is. So
He used Dream Eater, and she's like twitching, and she's on the ceiling right now. If you want to talk to her, so
oh, oh
I,
my god.
crafting, I think is a cool idea. Hopefully, this is not tacked on.
Yeah.
I feel like it at certain point is going to be law of diminishing returns because in the trailer we saw at one point the little character avatar he had like 90 Pokeballs. That's a lot of
Right.
Pokeballs.
It
And
might be just be that build.
I guess, but that's a lot of Pokeballs just to be casually having around. Um, so, uh, as you said, the Pokemon are out in the open world, and they can attack you. And so, like, there's a new mechanic on actually catching the Pokemon, in which you can send like a berry or some type of food out and have lure the Pokemon over there to throw the Pokeball, or you can just like sneak up and throw the Pokeball. But if the Pokemon catches you, some and like this is cool that some have different behaviors. So some may like run away.
Right.
Some like
Good.
the Bidoof just don't care. They'll just look at you right in your face.
Just like he actually does, and when you actually have him.
But some will like actually attack you, and some will physically attack you as the player. As Max was saying earlier, like especially the ones that like, uh, what's the term they call it? Alpha Pokemon. If that
Oh yeah,
alpha
because their eyes
Pokemon,
are red.
yeah, the eyes get red, and they will square off. They'll square up with you, dog.
What was that? A Whaleren or whatever the fuck?
Like, well, no, not
Oh,
Whaleren. Whaleren, that thing's be too big.
Something was huge, and it was like, "Oh, you think you gonna capture me?"
it's like, nah, bruh, nah, you ain't gonna capture me. But honestly, I like that mechanic. I mean, and even I'm not sure if you guys caught it, but even when you were sneaking up behind a Pokemon, around the edges of the screen, it starts to go a little bit dimmer or darker, or to some extent, because if the Pokemon's starting to like suspect you, that's what that mechanic was for. So I really like that. And even if you throw your Pokeball once and you capture it, that's awesome. Throw it once and it doesn't capture it, like they're like square up. Like, come on, let's square. And I like that. Because there are times where we just want to capture Pokemon and we don't want to be bothered with a battle. Like if our Pokemon are low and all that stuff, and we just want to shink, throw that bit.
and
Pokemon, so that you're just running around. Pokemon finds you. It's just like, and then shoots like a flamethrower at you. You get knocked out.
and
You don't even have time to react. It's just like, "Oh, you thought."
and so there's still, so that aspect is really cool. It's new, it's fresh. But then obviously, the bread and butter of Pokemon is always going to be battling. It's going to be that turn-based system. And if you throw your own Pokemon out, then that becomes very traditional Pokemon, where it's turn-based. You have your four moves, you have your type, type chart, where some types are effective against other types and stuff like that. That element is still there, which is good. I do enjoy that rigmarole. But um, they did change up the battle system by having the strong style and the agile style. So if it's a strong style, if you can switch each individual move to a strong style, which means the move will be way more effective or way more powerful, but you may not attack after a while after using it. And then and let me finish this. And then there's that agile style, which increases your speed, so you can do way more attacks way more frequently, but the attacks have less power or less effective against that enemy Pokemon.
Now, this element, I've been waiting for something like this, honestly, because
Right.
if you were paying attention to the top right hand corner of the screen, every time that trainer in the video was getting into battle, it showed like the order of moves. And after you initiate a strong or agile style like attack, where strong with the power goes up and the speed goes down, and vice versa with the agile style, you can actually see the change of order, and then that will create for better strategies to see what we're going to do next. And imagine, hopefully it has this mechanic when we battle other trainers, duos. Do you know how awesome that would be to just see like who's going to do what, and then we can strategize around that. But you always have that independent factor of the other trainer picking a different style for a different move, and that would change everything around. And that Pokemon, I'll give you a round of applause for that one.
What it reminds me of even though this might be a stretch, is another Nintendo property, kind of sort of. Well, actually, no, it's all Nintendo. Bravely Default, where they have there's a mechanic where you can brave and you can perform extra turns because it's still a turn-based RPG where you can perform extra turns and still do extra stuff to have more damage output at the risk of you not being able to attack as many turns later, or you can defend in default where it doesn't where you're basically essentially blocking, but your next few attacks will be a little bit weaker or something like that. And so I think they're kind of sort of just trying to change up the way the flow of the game is versus it just being all right, you use tackle, all right, Metapod used harden, all right, then they use tackle, all right, Metapod used tackle again. And it's just this boring back and forth where you have the strong and agile style you can possibly one shot stuff and get it over with early game, and then later where it's a lot more open with move sets across all the Pokemon, where you think you might one shot that Onyx and it with a strong style move, and it doesn't, and it costs you a 2 or 3 turns, and he uses Iron Tail all 3 turns and wipes you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Personally, as a JRPG, like I like turn-based game. I think that's just really cool. I that's like one of my favorite things, honestly. So anything to shake up the whole back and forth is good, and that's a good. It's very basic, but it's a good basic thing to do. Like just to at least freshen it up a little bit.
Hmm. Well, yeah, and that's part of what Pokemon fans have been asking for years now is just something different, not change things up. And I will say this about Sun and Moon, and I played most of the game. I never, as I said, I didn't beat it. I probably played like 75% of the main story, but they got rid of gyms to completely focus on the challenges, which I believe was a nice new approach because you had to think of different ways of using your team. You had to think of different ways of battling. Um,
Yeah, I do like that too.
and I did feel like a breath of fresh air for that that series. And then we go Sword and Shield, and we go right back into the gyms, and it's just like I like the gym challenge, but it wasn't enough to keep you like super interested in it.
Or
Right.
engaged in actual
Agreed.
battle.
Hmm.
It just felt very samey every time.
Right.
Right. And speaking of like, differences, um, one of the things that stood out to me immediately is that it seems that there is going to be a bigger emphasis on story on this than there is in the previous games. And, you know, because this is approaching Pokemon gameplay in such a different fashion, you know, the fact that, you have different parts of like different tribes essentially that you're constantly going towards, and there's you know the people are still fearful of Pokemon. This is Pokemon are not a domesticated thing in this society. They're very much a danger, and they have like I forgot what they call them in the trailer, but there's two separate types of missions where there's one that are basically like kind of like fetch quests, like hey, I need this Pokemon, or I need to take I need to see X, Y, and Z, or I need this to be made. And then there's other missions that advance the story so that you're actually, pushing forward in some type of narrative. And it's going to be refreshing because that narrative is not consolidated by, oh, you have to go to this gym. Oh, you go into this new town. All right, go to the gym. All right, defeat the, rival team. All right, go into the next gym. All right, go into this. Like it feels like it's going to open up to much bigger narrative elements, bigger story things that you can actually like
In
sink your
right.
teeth into.
Right.
Alright.
In true open world game fashion era open world gaming.
Yeah, with the missions and requests, that I really love to see because instead of just going through our regular Pokemon games, we go from town to gym. Oh wait, meet our rival, battle our rival, go through all that stuff. I'm glad that element of, and it may be unpopular. I'm glad that element of having a rival is over with, so we could focus on, hey, let's make a good story, not keep a repetitive story because at the beginning of every Pokemon game, there's always like, oh, this your whose phone is that?
That's mine. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
He-
You da, 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 da. But anyway, but yeah, at the beginning of every game, oh, here's a rival. He's gonna be your rival forever, blah blah blah, and all this stuff. Battle him. But I want a more in-depth story since we're gonna get. I know we're gonna get that. Like this is the creation of of the Sinnoh League, of the Sinnoh region, as a whole. So, and we also have the main like legendary Pokemon Arceus himself, which is the Pokemon of creation. So
no, it's literally God,
like
Literal
God,
God.
the literal God that uses
God,
judgment. Not kidding. He uses judgment and it's
God, you God, use judgment. You have been smited. You are now in hell.
Bro, I just
Um
imagine a Pokemon, him using judgment, and that Pokemon just ceases to exist. Like they don't
It's
faint, they don't die, they just evaporate.
like it gets deleted from the code of the game.
I don't feel too good, God. It fades away out of existence like it just Thanos snapped all over the place. Oh,
Uh,
but I love it.
yeah, and that bigger emphasis on story just makes me make it feel like an actual RPG. Um,
Right.
Gasp.
And then an RPG simulator.
an actual real RPG that has consequences to your actions in the story.
Possibly.
Side, right. A genuine side quest.
Um,
An objective that isn't, oh, I need to become the champion.
I want to be the
And that's it.
I want to be the strongest. All right, kid. So does everybody else. Cool.
So did Ash, but how many seasons in the anime did it take for him to get a Pokemon League win? I'm just saying. I want to be the best. Loses, goes to another region. Let's try this again. What?
Loses.
He does.
He's like, all right, I fucked that one up. All right, let's go somewhere else.
And no, what does he do? He just stores his Pokemon with Professor Oak all the way back in the Kanto region, and he doesn't even take them along, other than Pikachu.
Right.
Other than Pikachu,
And he just starts
like
fresh every bruh, if you just had your team from the last
ex-
you would
exactly.
be steamrolling everybody.
Exactly. I understand that you want to increase your Pokedex like info and all that stuff, but bro, you struggling with some of these gems now.
Oh,
I remember that. I remember.
go ahead.
Go for it. Oh, well, I remember one gym. He was struggling so bad. He was thinking about evolving Pikachu. Like, bro,
I remember that episode. And
like,
Pikachu was
Damn,
like,
am I this bad?
Pikachu was like, I don't know.
like I'm comfortable being Pikachu and all that stuff, but yeah. Again, Ash, worst protagonist, and nobody can change my mind because he was dumb.
He's not that bad. He's not that bad. He's a decent.
Okay, now I have two things to go on. One, if you want to have some really good Pokemon story, read the Pokemon manga. That junk is lit. Um,
Aren't people dying in the manga or
yes,
something like that?
the,
Oh
the
man.
manga gets real, boy.
Funny because it's coming from Pokemon.
But it's like the manga, basically, Ash is personified as Red, and it's a completely different character. Gary is personified as Blue, and again, it's a completely different character. Like visually, they look similar, but the way they approach things, the way the story goes, the gym leaders are all different. Like it's a really good story. I haven't read all of them because they do a new manga for each generation, but uh, the first two generations, so Pokemon Red, Blue, Green, Yellow, Gold, Silver, and Crystal, they all culminate into this one big story, and it's really really good. Um, but to try to bring it back. Um, Another aspect that I found cool was that you're literally developing the first ever Pokédex. And I think that's such a cool concept, like lore wise and gameplay wise,
Yes.
because if you think about like the modern Pokemon games, it kind of doesn't make sense because it's like, oh, you see the Pokemon, you capture it, and instantly you have all this data on it. Like it doesn't make sense, and it's like you're taxed with finding all the Pokemon and getting this data. But I'm like, the data's kind of already on the device. You don't really need me for that. It's already there. But this makes sense from a lore standpoint that yeah, like you're basically getting the field experience about these Pokemon. You're learning what they like. You're learning what foods they react to. You're actually like doing research on these Pokemon.
It's
Well, yeah,
pretty cool that you could actually it canonically it makes sense. Like they're saying that this is the first encounter of any type of Pokemon research whatsoever. So you have to make it so that way you're doing all the work. You're coming up with all the research, you're coming up with all the data. You need to find out the height, the weight, the blood type of that Pokemon.
Right. And then,
mhm,
I mean, this is a really cool concept for a game too, because all that random in the knowledge that just we get from the get-go has to come from somewhere.
mhm.
So boom, we are making it. Now, the technology of the Pokeball being able to transform monsters into like light particles, that's kind of ridiculous for hundreds of years ago, but you know, it's sci it's Pokemon. It's anime.
Yeah, I mean, at least this game is taking a better direction story wise because, as DeYante said with the Pokedex, the information's already there. Last thing anybody needs is a 70-year-old professor sending out a 10-year-old out into the world with these dangerous creatures and get information on Pokemon he already has. So, the creation process of this is going to be awesome. And again, with our game's main legendary Pokemon Arceus, the Pokemon of creation, I think it's just it's a double entendre to some extent. That one Pokemon.
And you realize that it's called Pokemon Legends Arceus. They've said nothing. They've shown nothing about Arceus itself.
Right.
So
Probably a good thing.
yeah, but I mean that's pretty cool that we know, our we already know that that's the god Pokemon, but that's
Mhm.
is going to be cool like story wise that we could possibly find out. Hey, this is how people find out it's the god Pokemon, or we find out its true relationship to humans, and maybe we'll see Dialga and Palkia in here and Giratina in here. Like it opens up so much cool narrative things that's going on.
Right.
Get to throw perfume at Garatina during my in world. You seen during the gameplay trailer, you just throwing shit at the.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I believe they called it noble Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So like
so
the noble is like
yeah,
basically boss Pokemon.
yeah. And I find it interesting. I am indifferent about noble Pokemon because I like the element of being able to a- operate around a Pokemon without your Pokemon like doing all the work and all that stuff. You throw things at it, and then like when it has a weak spot, yeah, you use your Pokemon to like get into that like cookie cutter formula for Pokemon with a turn-based system and stuff like that.
Right.
But
Right.
then again, I'm like, um, this why? Again, I'm indifferent. I don't hate it. I don't love it per se, but I'm just like,
I'm
it's
Yeah,
not.
see
I'm
how it's
excited
implemented.
about it because it again it's something cool, it's new, gives us a reason to have a dodge mechanic in a Pokemon game.
A
I mean,
Pokemon.
think about it. Think about how
I'm
like they
playing
have
Monster Hunter or something.
full boss encounters in here. Like you see. Remember that scene in the gameplay trailer? You had that Pokemon that had those two axes for hands, cutting down trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, dodge that. Like I don't want to get cut by two axes out in the wild and lose my life. No, it's cool how they some of these encounters are. It's just like these super powerful Pokemon just out in the wild are actually destroying things. Are you can see why these things are dangerous.
Yeah, but canonically, how is that going to relate to the rest of the Pokemon franchise with these noble Pokemon?
Um,
Right, 'cause that is a new terminology.
I feel like it's just one of those situations where like if you just think about actual animals, eventually we domesticated animals, and it got to the point where over time, you know, dogs became less of these, you know, hunter
Yeah, these
things,
feral. Yeah.
feral beings, and over time they became more friendly, more domesticated, more calm around humans and stuff like that. I think it's a situation like that where, because as they said, Pokemon is like scary, they don't know a lot of information about them, so maybe like this is the first steps to, hey, now we starting to understand how Pokemon work, how they react, you know how their environments affect whatever.
Mm. I see you. I see you. Okay, I'm getting on board with this a little bit more.
And speaking of that, I also think I find it cool in this is that this game features Pokemon that's not found in Gen 4. At least, in Sinnoh, that we think of Sinnoh. You
Yes.
see newer Pokemon from Gen 5, 6, and 7 in here. And so it's just like, oh, that's cool. Because I was kind of scared. Are we going to, because it's based on the Sinnoh region, are we going to be tied to Pokemon only, found in that region? But no, that makes sense historically. Yeah, it would make sense that hundreds of years ago, like we had different types of animals and different species that in the Pokemon region, they would have different types of Pokemon within that same region. And, things change. Pokemon move to different regions and stuff like that. So that means it's a lot of Pokemon that you can choose from that they can choose from to like be represented in this game.
Yeah, because all that Pokemon representation, I believe they call the Galaxy Expedition Team in Jubilife City.
Hmm.
That fascinates me. If you don't mind me talking about Jubilife City.
Yeah, I was about to go there. Go ahead.
Okay, so um, I wrote down in my notes they have medical security and survey corps that you can join, but they only talked about you, the player, having the survey corps. So hopefully that will be something that we can choose from between the three corps, and hopefully that would dictate our missions and requests as well, and maybe even a little bit of the story. I'm not sure. Um, Possibly if playing through the game, changing things around a little bit so better serve the core that you're registered under. But if you're only under one core, the survey core that they mentioned, it'll be a little bit of a letdown, but I still would like that option.
Hmm.
So that brings me to another thing that I found really interesting. Obviously, yeah, Jubilife, that's the name of the city in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I think that's like the third city you travel to. Um, but I found it real interesting that Team Galactic was a thing back then, and they weren't a villain's team. They were probably just a tribe, or a a a, a I don't want to say corporation, but like just a grouping of people trying to either capture Pokemon or try to domesticate them. We don't know their true thing, but the fact that they're just like, hey, this is the Galactic or whatever, the Galaxy. They call it the Galaxy something.
Clan.
It
Um,
was Galaxy Expedition Team. I said it
yeah,
earlier.
The Expedition Team,
Galaxy Expedition.
which makes
Expedition.
which again makes me like, wow, what if this is like the start of the idea of Team Galactic, and maybe like, because if in the story, Team Galactic, they're very like hell bent on freeing Dialga and Palkia using their powers and whatever. Like, what if this was like just the start of that idea, and it was like passed down through years about the use of these intergalactic Pokemon, and maybe that was like the foundations of this whole teamwork and why they basically became like a cult leading up
And
into
nobody
Pokemon.
fucked with them.
Right.
Everybody thought they were crazy. We're like, we started this. We started this. So
Oh,
it's an interesting concept. Hopefully they'll drive the point home. So
Right.
oh, and what if we have the option because of those different cores? We're required to have certain Pokemon on our team, maybe, to better serve the core for missions and requests. I don't know. Maybe interesting.
So it's like, the more we see about this game, the more excited I get about it. Because I remember that first reveal, and that junk was run at like 12 frames per second.
Yeah, that jump was looking
Yeah,
chunky.
I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was, but they definitely.
Oh
Oh,
Max,
man.
you cut out.
I did.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Yeah, that looked terrible, but they definitely redeemed themselves with this second gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was looking chunky, boy.
man, when I first heard of this game, I was pre-ordering Brilliant Diamond. We'll go Dialga, and the guy at GameStop was like, "Do you want to pre-order Pokemon Arceus?" I'm like, "Heck yeah!" I mean,
He upselled you, boy.
I
He
I,
did.
I I know he
He
did
got
that, but again,
But he got his quota. He's like, all right, let me. Well, he already pre-ordered one Pokemon game. Hey, you interested in
you. Let me give you the
Arceus?
other one.
Like,
yeah, he got me, but but I already knew. I heard of the remake for Sinnoh. I was like, Arceus. It's one of my favorite Pokemon, like favorite legendary Pokemon. Let me get on this track because he was never
God.
on
God.
Pokemon Legends God. Oh man, I love this. This is gonna be quite the
E-
game, y'all boys.
Even looking at the current trailer, like the newest one that came out, it still looks slightly rough, but it doesn't look as bad as it did.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like they smoothed out some of the edges. I can't tell if it still runs at 30 or if that's like a 59 or like
Oh no, we
a
we
29.
we were definitely getting no 60. I can pretty much guarantee that.
Oh yeah, Nintendo has a standard to
Maybe that might
uphold.
work some wizardry like I don't know Mario Kart 8 Deluxe where that game just runs like butter.
Look,
Mm.
it's Game Freak, who's developing Legends Arceus, and they've notoriously in the past has been really terrible about optimizing their games, even on Nintendo systems. Um, so I'm not expecting anything better than 30 FPS. I expect there's probably going to be some dips in performance, because that's just Game Freak. They're just
That's just how they do.
yeah.
Honestly, that may only be around when you get to the alpha Pokemon and maybe the noble Pokemon. I didn't see a whole lot of that in the trailer, but those bigger characters may be a lot for them to just make everything fluid, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we're a little over an hour. Any final thoughts to wrap up our discussion on Pokemon Legends Arceus?
I wish it luck.
That-
No,
that's
seriously though, because the game, I mean, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, everybody seems to like it because it's a return to form. I'm just hoping that it's a new game that it kind of goes in the right direction and it's what the fans want. Because I can't consider myself a fan because I haven't been really like following the series heavily as of lately. I mean, I've played a few of the games, like I said, and I've only beaten Gold and Ruby. So I really do hope that the game does well and is successful.
ooh, let me hop
We'll
on
see.
in. Okay, so final thoughts. I know I'm gonna love this game,
Can y'all,
and if you're a Pokemon game, like if you're a really big
If you're a
Pokemon fan,
Pokemon game.
can y'all hear
yes,
me?
My game, you're gonna love
uh,
this game.
you were muted, but
I was muted this whole time. I was talking. Oh my god.
uh,
Uh,
well, I'll finish my shtick and
okay.
pass on to you. But if you're a new Pokemon fan, um, or a returning Pokemon fan, you're gonna love this game. And my only gripe, and it's so small. I know it's just so small. At the beginning of the game, I wanted to be able to choose my skin color because as I felt like as a person of color, I would like to be represented in Pokemon games. I've seen it
You
happen in
already
prior
know
games.
how Pokemon does with their customization system. It's going
Yeah,
to be 100% bare bones. There's going to be
Mhm.
no options. You got like four different hair options, like three
Um,
different
they
skin
have
color options, and you can be boy or girl, and that's going to be it. There's nothing else.
I already know that's gonna be the case because I saw clothes, hair, eyebrows. I'm like, so you can put cornrows on Dawn, but you won't get let a brother get cornrows. I see how it
I'm
is.
saying no, and it's always there. They've always been terrible. Like Pokemon customization is the bottom of the barrel.
Hey, they're doing their best. They're getting better.
It's not good enough. It's
Look at
not.
Sun and Moon. They put some braids in there,
I guess
cornrows.
because it's based on the Hawaiian Islands. It's Pacific Islander. They have to, or people would outrage. They don't have to with this game, so they're not going to because it's Nintendo.
I just want my
Uh,
nappy hair in a video game.
right. This game seems really cool. It genuinely seems really cool. It seems like they immersive, like an actual open world RPG. I just hope they don't pull a Nintendo. Nintendo sucks at the quality of life stuff, like the small stuff.
Yeah,
I really hope that it's not like that, but I'm not. I'm not. I don't really have any expectations for that to be good. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty of gripes with the game when it comes out. But you know, it looks good, Nintendo. Good job.
Why are you
why are
yelling
you
at
yelling
them?
at them?
Right.
He's like, it looks good with the Joker.
It did nothing
Brian.
wrong.
Now Brian's thoughts.
Um. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Um. I'm hoping it gives me that Breath of the Wild itch, where it's just like a game where I just can be like, "Ooh, let me do this next. Ooh, let me do this next. Ooh, let me do this next." Um. And I haven't felt like that for a while. Um. I just started playing Halo Infinite's campaign, and I got into the part where it opens up. Because like the first two, three ish levels are like traditional Halo. Um, but like I got to the point where it opened up and I was like, oh, I could do this. And it's like, I want to stop here, but let me go do this. And I love when that happens to me in a game, that means I know I'm all the way in. And I haven't felt like that since really Breath of the Wild, where it's just like you have this big world, you get absorbed in it, and you just want to learn everything about it. You want to learn about the people, you want to learn about, these different areas, you want to explore, you want to just know everything and just really get immersed. And so I'm hoping it can do that for me.
There could be a nice big old dumpster fire, and it does none of that.
Hey, dumpster fires can be nice. They provide warmth.
And they smell like anyway.
Mm, mm.
um so yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up. Um this was fun having you in here, Clayton.
It
It's
was.
I
nice.
didn't. I didn't have fun at all, Clayton.
Well, forget you two. We were supposed to be clarinet brothers.
No,
I
he's
told you I play
accordion.
accordion. Stop playing these lies.
You're gonna make me peek on my mic, bro. Oh my god.
Did that on Saturday. We don't need any more of that.
I already turned down the game.
Oh yeah, Clayton.
Blame
You
the no, no,
Clayton,
no,
you
no.
were wild on Saturday, dog. You
No,
were
no, 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 no.
loud.
Blame the other people, bro. Blame the other people. I didn't drink.
You.
Okay, I mean Max is just, we know Max yells in games, but he was far away. He was far away when he was yelling.
We were scared.
Bro, Clayton, you were like microphone to your like teeth.
In your esophagus.
Y'all so lucky I have this compressor on, or y'all would hear the chattering of my teeth on my microphone.
Bro, there was a point where DeYante was like, it's like I can't turn him down any lower.
I was like, this is it.
Because I had 3 other people in my room. Jeez, so my room ain't that big. That gonna bounce.
I was scared. I was frightened.
Oh god.
All right, y'all. You can find the Sound Test podcast on all of the major podcast hosting platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, and of course is on YouTube. So yeah, just do the thing. Rate it, subscribe.
Do it and do it now.
5 stars.
Yeah, go shoot for 5 stars if you like this quality of foolishness.
It's like he's asking me, "Hey, did you enjoy that match?" And I'm like, "No, I
I
did not."
came I came in 20th place
Right.
out of 20.
Right, all right, y'all. See y'all on the next one.
All right.
Later,
Peace.
folks.
Good